Dominic Cummings is back. He's back with a plan for a new political party and a complete regime change. It's going to be absolutely radical. For the past few months, he's been pretty quiet and he's been busy with other stuff. And now he's on his website. A couple of days ago, he published his blueprint, his vision, and essentially the plans, upcoming plans, not just to have a new party, new right-wing party, or essentially a party that could actually operate in a normal sense, to compete with other mainstream parties. No, he wants to completely bring down the Conservative Party, the Tory party, and replace it with something that actually works. Dominic Cummings has been calling for a complete regime change and a complete radical, essentially a British revolution, to start from scratch and actually go against the consensus of the establishment, because he tried to drain the swamp of the establishment, but of course he wasn't allowed to. Now, on his website, he said, initially the blueprint is calling it the Startup Party, but it's not going to be the actual name of the party. The Startup Party. Time to build from September and replace the Tories. A great chance, best since the 1850s, to replace the Tories with something that could actually operate. So it is quite interesting because, of course, there are various ways to do this. Some people are still patient. Some people stay inside the Conservative Party or try to shift it towards conservatism. Some people have given up and want to compete against the Tories, so they've joined Reform UK, for example, or so many small parties are being set up on a regular basis. But the plan that Dominic Cummings has is more radical, because he wants to completely just start from the top and replace the Tory party, completely bury it and start from there. So he's got a few bullet points on his website. Said the issues that we are currently facing with the Tory government is no grip of power, the Cabinet Office, a dumpster fire, and no number 10 plan to fix it. Number 10, given the runaround by Whitehall as soon as the PM's office switches from one disaster to the next. No governing plan for the NHS, crime, obviously when it comes to conflicts, productivity growth, research and development, or anything else. Just nightmarish Treasury budget spending review processes that vandalize the long-term building and entrench the dangerous rot of critical national capabilities. He also said, basically, the government has no message, no serious polling, communication or political machine, apart from gibberish, essentially, when it comes to the Tory branding and to a Tory model. No political strategy worth spit. Current approach is essentially just to annoy everybody. And an awful level of argument from number 10 on every major issue, reduced to defending idiot MPs, telling people to F off out of frustration that their own policy, which officials and their own special advisors told them couldn't work, has turned into the predicted fiasco, and of course political disintegration. So I can't argue against any of these, and he's pointing out the right problems. And I think the solution is also, while radical, maybe it's time to go radical. Not sure. Especially if you get some key figures to join a new party and unite the so-called right. And it's not really about right or left anymore, we know that. But it's about bringing back the basic values that used to govern the country and the government. So he says, this is the time to start building the replacement, so that from 10 p.m. on election night in October, between October and December 2024, general election night, the old party is buried and a new set of people with new ideas start talking to the country and can take over in 2028 and give voters the sort of government they want and deserve. Now, whatever people say about Dominic Cummings, his brain worked when it came to the EU referendum. He knew how to campaign. He knew how to read the pulse of the nation, and so he's got the experience with that. He's got the philosophical experience when it comes to thinking how to actually govern the country. But again, it's all about appetite. And according to Cummings himself, a number of Tory MPs who are frustrated with the party and government keep getting in touch with him, and they ask him, "Can you help? What do we do?" Because this is basically a dead-end road. It's not really going anywhere. And after the next election, if the Tory party completely gets destroyed, you're going to have Keir Starmer as Prime Minister. So you're not going to get Richard Tice as Prime Minister. It's highly, highly unlikely. Short-term bump It's not going to happen. We could have good progress for small parties like Reform, for example, but it's not going to be ready by 2024. Nobody knows the main candidates, the 600 candidates across the country. How many of you in your local area know the local candidates? Again, the same applies to both Labour and Tories, apart from the household names of the Tory party and the Labour party. Diane Abbott, for example. Not many people know who their local representative are or local candidates are. So that whole system needs to change if we want to govern this country better and actually improve democracy. Anyway, we'll keep an eye on this story because I think it's going to be quite interesting over the next few months, next year or so. I'm Mahyar Tousi, and we are the media.